What Bible story would qualify as a Florida man story? Disoriented Florida man found on the beach claims to have spent the last 3 days in the stomach of a large fish. The sheer number of empty rum bottles nearby leads me to believe 3 things: he was probably drunk as fuck and there was no giant fish, he's a dick for not sharing any with me, he's the reason all the rum is gone. I love this one the most because of how satirical the Book of Jonah is. Floridian self-proclaimed prophet goes against his God's demands, says fuck you, I'm going to Vegas instead of delivering his message. More at 6. Florida man spends entire night in lion enclosure, emerges the next day unharmed. Florida man thrown into lion enclosure befriends lion, claims supernatural involvement. Lions and man all inebriated. Florida women fight over baby until Florida man threatens to cut it in half. Can I get the legs? I'll take the legs. Let her have the top part. Sounds better if you call him the King of Florida because it implies to the reader that they haven't been keeping up with some important Floridian political developments. Florida man kills pro fighter with a rock. Brings projectile weapon to a fencing challenge, bends rules but result is accepted. Calling Goliath a pro fighter might be an overstatement. There are ideas that, due to his gigantism, he was blind and in constant pain. Really, he could have just been an intimidation method, actually fighting was probably a bit beyond him. And David basically shot the rock into Goliath's fucking head. Slings, not slingshots, were legit weapons in those days. Florida man, whose wife went missing, claims she turned into something that looked like bath salts. Story of Sodom and Gomorrah? You forgot the best part about this headline: Florida man, believing wife was turned into bath salts, impregnates daughters while trapped in cave. Florida man goes on roid rage and kills 100s with the jawbone of an ass, gets stripped of his manhood by Florida stripper. If there's any figure in the Bible who embodies the essence of Florida man, it's Samson. You know I'm not very familiar with most of the Bible, but the more of these I read, the more I think they just didn't market the Bible very well. I'd probably buy the special edition collector's tin with resin Jesus figurine. Florida man claims superhuman strength until Florida woman cuts off his mullet. Hell yeah, brethren. As an atheist, reading all of these replies about someone chopping off someone else's mullet is really confusing. Florida man paints door with sheep's blood. Said it was to protect his firstborn son. 3 days later drags his family through a river running from the cops. Not heard from again for 40 years. I can see this in a headline. This whole thread would be a great sub-idea. r/Florida man a Bible tale. Florida man cuts his girlfriend into pieces after she is raped to death, mails them to every town in Florida. Edit, Judges 19 to 21. Florida man shoves girlfriend out of Airbnb, waits until she is raped to death, and then cuts her body into pieces and mails it to every town in Florida. FTFY. What story is this? Left-handed Florida man stabs overweight politician with sword. The sword disappears into the politician's body, never to be seen again. Let's not forget that the only reason the guards didn't stop him before being ordered out of the room was because they already patted him down, but only for if he would wield the blade with his right hand. They didn't touch his inner right thigh at all. Which one is this? Florida man with superpowers, uses them to make alcohol. Florida man claims superpowers, tells others to follow in his footsteps. Millions drown. Florida man feeds thousands from handfuls of fish and bread. No one really knows how. Florida man threatens to cut baby in half over custody battle. Whatever happened to the woman who was cool with half a baby? Florida man, sold into slavery by his brothers, returns to prank his family. Edit, expanded storyline, Florida man with fancy coat, sold into slavery by his brothers, manages to become Lieutenant Gov of California, pranks family when they come asking for food assistance. I think you missed the part where the slave became an Egyptian prince or something like that. It's been years since I last read this story. Florida man with an awesome coat. Florida governor tells Florida man to bring him the foreskins of 100 Californians in exchange for his daughter's hand in marriage. I'm not Jewish or Christian, so I'm unfamiliar with this. What story is it? This is the one I wanted to make sure was told, though I was going to make the headline something like Florida man brings governor 100 foreskins to ask permission to marry his daughter. Florida man trades entire inheritance to his brother in exchange for some baked beans. Edit, like pretty much everything Jacob and Esau did in Genesis is 100% Florida men. Florida man dresses up as goat to prank blind father. You won't believe what happens next. Florida man marries 2 wives and so does his brother. Florida man wrestles social worker in parking lot before gang feud. Entire town's male population circumcised so that leader can marry foreign woman, then her family kills all the men while recovering. I'm not too familiar with the Bible. May I ask the original story of the last anecdote? Florida man offers up daughters to horny mob. Oh lot. Not that you asked, but that story often gets misunderstood. It's not about horny people wanting to have gay sex and so he offers his daughters instead. It's about a mob of rapists wanting to rape his guests who are angels. And sex between angels and humans was one of the biggest no-nos in ancient Judaism. In fact, women wore hats in church to cover their hair so angels wouldn't be possessed by lust and rape them. Think of that next time you see a lady with a nice hat going into church. Still hasn't aged well, but also not a story against homosexuality as it is often used. Florida man claims devil responsible for drowned herd of pigs. I looked for so long to find this one. Florida man gets swallowed by big fish while fishing. Runs around in circles until he was pooped out. He wasn't fishing though. Florida woman touches attempted murderer's feet with fresh cut foreskin. Honored, the assailant backs off. What? Ah yes, feet, often used in biblical Hebrew as a euphemism for genitals. Florida man mandates to kill every child under 2 in his town. Claims that with that he will make sure God's child won't usurp his throne. I don't remember Herod's story that well. Sorry if there are any mistakes. Not sure if he gave a reason tbh. But you're correct. Samson is a Florida man story. This is the right answer. The entire Samson story is a ride, and Samson himself is such a bizarre figure in the context of the rest of the book of Judges. It's like God was tired of sending wise prophets who nobody listened to, so instead he gives Israel a Hulk and just lets things unfold naturally. Florida man gets in an unarmed fight with a lion. Florida man wins. Florida man murders 20 Californians so he can use their clothes to pay up on a lost bet. Florida man forces Florida daughter to marry another Florida man despite being already married to another Florida man. Original Florida husband rounds up wild animals and burns down all nearby crops by attaching lit torches to their tails and letting them loose. Florida man steals city gate and leaves it on a nearby hill. Florida man goes on killing rampage armed only with a donkey's jawbone. Florida woman ties up Florida man, cuts his hair, and hires hitmen to take him out. Florida man removes load-bearing pillar of a building during a party, killing himself and all other partygoers. Florida man kills his brother in a field, says he was jealous of what the Lord gave him. Florida men throw brother into ditch to steal his pride parade coat. Florida man goes on rampage, whips street vendors outside his father's house. Local religious guy gets made fun of by a gang of youths for his lack of hair. He calls bears on them and kills them all. When it comes to the mass murder of innocent children, people always want to understand the killer's motive. Unfortunately in this case, Jacksonville police say it appears that Florida man was overly sensitive about his male pattern baldness and initiated the wild animal attack as an act of revenge. This is the one I was looking for. Balding Florida man collapses neighbor's house on them. No survivors. Not to be confused with when Florida party walks around neighborhood for 7 days silently. Florida neighborhood collapses without warning. Naked man steals apple from local orchard. Blames naked wife, who in turn blames a talking snake. Or consider Florida couple lose all nude country club membership for produce theft. Lay blame on talking snake. Well, when you say it like that, it just sounds like meth. Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.